Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 2, Book 22, number 300. Narrated by Aisha. I used to stretch my legs towards the Qibla of the Prophet while he was praying. Whenever he prostrated he touched me, and I would withdraw my legs, and whenever he stood up, I would re-stretch my legs. Volume 2, Book 22, number 301. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet once offered the prayer and said, Satan came in front of me and tried to interrupt my prayer, but Allah gave me an upper hand on him and I choked him. No doubt, I thought of tying him to one of the pillars of the mosque till you get up in the morning and see him. Then I remembered the statement of Prophet Solomon, My Lord, bestow on me a kingdom such as shall not belong to any other after me. Then Allah made him, Satan, return with his head down, humiliated. Volume 2, Book 22, number 302. Narrated by Al-Azraq bin K. We were at Al-Awaz fighting the Al-Haruriya tribe. While I was at the bank of a river, a man was praying and the reins of his animal were in his hands and the animal was struggling and he was following the animal. Shubah, a sub-narrator, said that man was Abu Baza al-Aslamal. A man from the Kawari said, O Allah, be harsh to this sheikh. And when the sheikh, Abu Baza, finished his prayer, he said, I heard your remark. No doubt, I participated with Allah's apostle in 6 or 7 or 8 holy battles and saw his leniency, and no doubt, I would rather retain my animal than let it return to its stable, as it would cause me much trouble. Volume 2, Book 22, number 303. Narrated by Aisha. Once the sun eclipsed and Allah's apostle stood up for the prayer and recited a very long surah and when bowed for a long while and then raised his head and started reciting another surah. Then he bowed, and after finishing, he prostrated and did the same in the second rakah and then said, These, lunar and solar eclipses, are 2 of the signs of Allah and if you see them, pray till the eclipse is over. No doubt, while standing at this place I saw everything promised to me by Allah and I saw paradise, and I wanted to pluck a bunch of grapes therefrom, at the time when you saw me stepping forward. No doubt, I saw hell with its different parts destroying each other when you saw me retreating and in it I saw Amr bin Luhai who started the tradition of freeing animals, set them free, in the name of idols. Volume 2, Book 22, number 304. Narrated by Ibn Umar. The Prophet saw some sputum on the wall facing the Qibla of the mosque and became furious with the people of the mosque and said, During the prayer, Allah is in front of every one of you and so he should not spit, or said, he should not expectorate. Then he got down and scratched the sputum with his hand. Ibn Umar said, after narrating, If any one of you has to spit during the prayer, he should spit to his left. Volume 2, Book 22, number 305. Narrated by Anas. The Prophet said, Whenever any one of you is in prayer, he is speaking in private to his Lord and so he should neither spit in front of him nor on his right side, but to his left side under his left foot. Volume 2, Book 22, number 306. Narrated by Sal bin Sa'd. The people used to offer the prayer with the Prophet with their waist sheets tied round their necks because of the shortness of the sheets and the women were ordered not to lift their heads till the men had sat straight. Volume 2, Book 22, number 307. Narrated by Abdullah. I used to greet the Prophet while he was in prayer and he would return my greeting, but when we returned from Ethiopia, I greeted the Prophet while he was praying, but he did not return the greeting, and, after finishing the prayer, he said, In the prayer one is occupied with a more serious matter. Volume 2, Book 22, number 308. Narrated by Jabir bin Abdullah. Allah's apostle sent me for some job, and when I had finished it I returned and came to the Prophet and greeted him, but he did not return my greeting. So I felt so sorry that only Allah knows it, and I said to myself, perhaps Allah's apostle is angry because I did not come quickly. Then again I greeted him, but he did not reply. I felt even more sorry than I did the first time. Again I greeted him and he returned the greeting and said, the thing which prevented me from returning the greeting was that I was praying. And at that time he was on his rahila and his face was not towards the Qibla. Volume 2, Book 22, number 309. Narrated by Sal bin Sa'd. The news about the differences amongst the people of Bani Amr bin Auf at Kuba reached Allah's apostle, and so he went to them along with some of his companions to effect a reconciliation. Allah's apostle was delayed there and the time for the prayer became due. Bilal came to Abu Bakr and said, O Abu Bakr, Allah's apostle is detained there, and the time for the prayer is due. Will you lead the people in prayer? Abu Bakr replied, yes, if you wish. So Bilal pronounced the Qama and Abu Bakr went forward and the people said Takbir. In the meantime, Allah's apostle came piercing through the rows till he stood in the first row and the people started clapping. Abu Bakr would never look hither and thither during the prayer, but when the people clapped much he looked back and saw Allah's apostle. The Prophet beckoned him to carry on. Abu Bakr raised both his hands, praised Allah and retreated till he stood in the row, and Allah's apostle went forward and led the people in the prayer. When he had finished the prayer, he addressed the people and said, O people, why did you start clapping when something happened to you in the prayer? Clapping is for women. Whenever one is confronted with something unusual in the prayer, one should say, Subhan Allah. Then the Prophet looked towards Abu Bakr and asked, what prevented you from leading the prayer when I beckoned you to carry on? Abu Bakr replied, it does not befit the son of Al-Kafir to lead the prayer in the presence of Allah's apostle. Volume 2, Book 22, number 310. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. It was forbidden to keep the hands on the hips during the prayer. This is narrated by Abu Hurairah from the Prophet. Volume 2, Book 22, number 311. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. It was forbidden to pray with the hands over one's hips. Volume 2, Book 22, number 312. Narrated by Uqba bin al-Harith. I offered the Asr prayer with the Prophet, and after finishing the prayer with Taslim he got up quickly and went to some of his wives and then came out. He noticed the signs of astonishment on the faces of the people caused by his speed. He then said, I remembered while I was in my prayer that a piece of gold was lying in my house, and I disliked that it should remain with us throughout the night, and so I have ordered it to be distributed.